What's up guys, my name is Ace, and we now have access to USS Texas 1945 in Call of Duty Vanguard, at least in custom games as of today. We should be seeing it in public matches for the full release of Season 4 tomorrow. But as I was exploring this remade map from CoD WW2, I noticed it wasn't quite a one-to-one replica of that map. While the general layout and structure is identical to the original, I was noticing several little areas that were totally different from the original map, and that's what I wanted to focus on in today's video. I'm going to be showing you guys all of the changes that I found from the original USS Texas from CoD WW2 to this USS Texas in Call of Duty Vanguard. But diving right in, let's start off on this side of the ship here. And the first thing I actually noticed right off spawn is this gap right here. This gap didn't exist, at least not to the same extent to where it would be viable to use in CoD WW2, whereas here, it's actually quite viable. It gives you a nice line of sight to anybody that's up in that area right there, so that's a little detail that you might be able to take advantage of. Next up, in the original USS Texas, the only way to get up here was by doing this, either jumping on this side or that side, and then you mantle up here, and then from here, of course, you can camp, which is what a lot of people do. However, in this new version, we have an alternative route here that doesn't work in the original, and that is to jump up this way here. So an additional entry point to a camping position, I'm all for that. Now, another thing that's new to this version of USS Texas are these, and you might recognize these from WW2 on the boats. You can shoot through this part, but you can't shoot through this part right here. We've got a couple here that just provides a little bit of extra concealment and cover as well for people that are camping up in that area. Unfortunately, we've also got one here as well as the reverse over there, and they've also added one here as well as the symmetrical side over there as well. It's the same sort of idea, so just keep that in mind. These are brand new and they didn't exist in the original version. After that, something that you basically can't miss are the doors are now interactable in this, and they start off being closed, whereas in CoD WW2, we didn't have interactable doors, of course, so those were just open by default. And it's also worth noting, you can't destroy these doors, as far as I've been able to tell. I sprayed a bunch of rounds through it, I put thermite on it, and these seem to be pretty much invincible. Now, I should also mention this applies to these middle doors that go toward the B domination flag, as well as the reverse over here. These doors are also interactable. Now, getting into the inside of the ship here, a big thing that I actually really like the idea of, we'll have to see how it plays out in a game. I love the fact that they included this little crouch area here. Normally it's boarded up, but of course you just slide through it, or you can blow up the boards in some other way, and then you can crawl through or slide through. And there is a reverse of that as well, although this is much bigger, so you can sprint through this directly. And I really like that this opens things up a little bit, because that's one of the things about USS Texas is, since it is such a narrow map, you are quite restricted in your movement, and this just opens it up a little bit at least, and it also makes this a little bit of a less dangerous choke point because there are alternatives to get through to this side of the map. Now, speaking of this B domination area, this little life raft here in CoD WW2, it exists, and you can totally see it there. It looks exactly the same. However, in CoD WW2, you can't do this. You can't jump over the railing and get into this boat, whereas you can do that in the new version. I don't know how useful this is or viable this is. I just wanted to point out that you can now get into that life raft. Now let's get into the upper areas right here, and you might notice these boards are here. Those weren't in CoD WW2, although they can be destroyed, so you can just turn this into the original version of the map by destroying those boards, and they'll likely get destroyed fairly early on in a match. This also applies to the other side as well. I guess I can just run over there real quick to show you that. I'm not lying to you guys here, and there you go. You can shoot through these windows right here. Now after that, on the top section right here, this is normally boarded up. You can break it and drop through this just as a little escape route. That doesn't exist at all in CoD WW2. It's completely boarded up with no chance of destruction. And then you have one over here as well. Again, that starts off being boarded up. I just broke through it earlier on in this match as I was exploring. And there's a reverse of that on this side right over here. Now, more importantly, in this side of the map here toward the middle, this piece of cover doesn't exist in CoD WW2, and this can be used to get up here as well. So it just gives you a little bit of an alternate route so you don't have to use these stairs to get up here. And I do like the addition of this. I also like the fact that this is a great place to be challenging the people that are camping up in that top area there. It just offers you another alternative to challenge them. Now, getting over to this side of the map, like I said, these are brand new. There's one there, one here, and there's one right there, which in the original version, there was actually a solid piece of cover right there, so you couldn't challenge from the middle of that area. You had to peek either left or right of that. Now you can shoot right through those boards directly over to this area here. Another thing that's worth mentioning is this overhead cover here didn't exist in the original version, so people that are camping in here will be protected from aerial streaks, which I'm not really a big fan of. I like the fact that it's open, but at the same time, on the other side of the map, the reverse spot to that does have overhead cover in both the original as well as this version. So I guess for balance sake, just making sure that camping position is balanced versus this camping position, I guess it makes sense, and I can live with that at least. Another thing to point out here is to get up to that top area, in the original version, we had a ladder here as well as on the other side over in this section right here. Those ladders don't exist anymore, so the only way up here is with these stairs. So there's one set of stairs on this side, one set of stairs on this side, and I guess there is the other way, which is to jump on top of this boat from this direction. This will totally work as well, but you no longer have those ladders as additional access points. To top that off, these guns in the original version were significantly lowered, and it was actually a whole ramp right into this area here. And what this means is you can unfortunately no longer climb on the barrel of these giant cannons here. They're just for show now, whereas in the old version of the map, you could climb up there, and it was a lot of fun for game modes like Infected, or just to mess around as like a unique spot to get into. Now finally, one last thing that I noticed with this map that's different is this section right here, right above this inside spawn point here. In the original version, you could actually climb on top of this, and this was basically not here up on this part, and you could walk across that area. They've blocked that off completely now, so you can't jump on top of that. I don't think that really changes the map all that much, but just wanted to point out that that is a little bit different. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for all of the non-aesthetic changes that I noticed between the original USS Texas and the new version that was just added to Vanguard. Now, on top of this, they have added the new guns to custom games as well. We have the Marco 5 SMG as well as the UGM-8 LMG. And with those, of course, I will have my comprehensive gun guides coming out throughout this week. But I can give you just a general indication of the basic stats of this and what they're most comparable to. When it comes to the new SMG, the Marco 5, this one actually has the exact same fire rate as the Sten, and it's also a 3-shot kill like the Sten, and at least with the base gun without any attachments, I just consider this to be a straight up better version of the Sten. So if you like the Sten, you're probably really going to like this, and even if you don't like the Sten, you're probably going to like this SMG more than the Sten. And then when it comes to the LMG, the UGM-8, this isn't quite exactly like any other LMG in the game. I'd say like the closest comparable thing is the DP27, but it does have more recoil than the DP27, but it also kills noticeably faster than the DP27, so it's kind of its own unique thing in Call of Duty Vanguard, which I think is quite nice, and so far it seems to be a pretty solid choice as well. And with that, I think that's a good place to leave this video. This is where I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below. What do you think of this new version of USS Texas and a lot of the changes that they've made to the map? Do you think they made the map better? Do you think this is an improvement over the original? Or do you think this is now worse with the changes they've made? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.